Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the OxFit podcast. It's Wednesday at 8:22 p.m. and testing out a new studio, testing out a new, let's call it episode of the podcast. But I've been thinking about, you know, it's 8:15 at night on a Wednesday. I did not want to do this. I was a little bit nervous about doing it on my own. Usually it's Monday. Usually I'm with Savannah or one of the other coaches. Usually I've got a guest. But if you get out of the rhythm of doing these things, you kind of build them up to a point where you don't want to do them again. And I know for some people that's just like getting back in the gym. And I know for some people that's just like taking on a new challenge. So I thought there's no better time than a crazy week when my kids go back to school on Monday. So I've been watching them every morning. And then I just coached till late at night. And I was like, well, there's no better time to talk about fear of failure because I have not got great conditions to make this a good podcast. And I'm going to do it anyway because that's what it's all about at OxFit. And that's what it's all about when you're coming back into a new fitness program. That's what it's all about when you get into a new gym. And so let's just do it. Let's just find our strength and find a way to figure this thing out as we go. So I want to talk about how OxFit helps you fail forward, right? And why we help you fail forward. Why is that important to us? And for me, I don't know if you saw the thumbnail to this video, but it's me doing a triathlon, me doing a marathon, me doing a high rocks, me doing a CrossFit style competition. And each of them things I've failed at, right? I've done 3 marathons. I've done Chicago twice and I've done the New York Marathon. Every time I've done a marathon, I have finished around 6 hours, right? So yeah, I finished. That's great. But for most people, if I really, really wanted a marathon to be my number one thing, I feel like I could do it in half that time. So somewhere around the 320, 330. If I was really, really focused on it, I would be going for like trying to qualify for Boston or something like that. But I've done it in 6 hours. And why have I done it in 6 hours? Well, every time I've done it with a team of OxFit athletes where we've gone to just make sure that we can get as many people as we can to finish these things. And to me, that's what it's all about, right? It's about taking other people with you. It's about maybe somebody that's done the marathon with us wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the team that we put together. We're all doing it together. We're all going to run it together. So to me, it's about doing these things and getting these experiences from doing them that I wouldn't have got and that other people wouldn't have got if they were scared to fail. And where that comes from for me, I know that I'm a little bit of a freak when it comes to not being scared of failure. And right now, coming up, I'm going to be 40 next year. And my whole story of my life of 40 years is just a story of failing and failing forward. And my favorite quote is fail better, right? And I came to America at 18. My goal was to be a professional basketball player. And all along the way, I failed at every single stage of that. I failed to play in college. I failed to get the professional contracts that I wanted. But without that dream and without that goal and without that failure, I wouldn't have the life that I have now. I'm living the American dream. I've got 2 amazing kids. I've got a fantastic wife. I've got 2 incredible gyms. And I've got an amazing team of people around me that I get to work with every day, all because I failed to become a professional basketball player. So now I know everything else I do in life, I've got to set these big goals. I've got to set these big dreams. And if I set them big enough and I fail hard enough, I'm going to end up somewhere way further on than I was before. And that's the kind of message and that's the kind of thing that I want to put into all my athletes when they come into the gym. And it's a big part of our OxFit culture, right? We have events coming up the rest of this year that are pretty scary. We've got an Olympic triathlon, we've got a CrossFit competition, and then we've got High Rocks coming back to Atlanta. We got DECA that we're going to go and do the DECA Fit in Knoxville. And all them things, most people have never done them before. And there's things in there that you're not going to be good at. And that means it's going to be scary. and you're probably going to fail. You're probably not going to be the best. Chances are you're not going to win High Rocks. Chances are you're not going to win the CrossFit competition. And chances are you don't have enough money to buy the type of bike that could help you win the triathlon. But I want to go through my list of failures and some of them. So if I bring up the first one, let's say the triathlon's coming first. So if we bring up the triathlon and image this one. Okay, so I did the triathlon. I've done it twice now. And both times I wanted to break 3 hours and I didn't break 3 hours. And I did the Olympic triathlon. And you could look at that. I mean, there's people that have way less history of, I was a professional athlete, right? That would crush me at a triathlon. And the swim for me took me, I think 45 minutes was maybe my best time. And so as a triathlete, I'm a complete failure. I am not a triathlete. But the thing that you've got to think about is 3 times now I've done a triathlon. And before that, I'd never swum a mile. And on top of that, I did it swimming in the ocean, swimming through jellyfish. And you get out of the water and you get back in. So sometimes swimming through jellyfish twice. And then every single time done it with a team of people. So not only have I done a triathlon, 40 to 50, maybe even 60 other people have done a triathlon that never would have done it. And I've swum the furthest that I've ever swum in my life. So the failure of being a triathlete is me achieving things and me having experiences with some incredible people at the beach, bulls on the beach, going to the Floribama for a rodeo, which is the most American thing I've ever done. Just having a good time with a bunch of people that never would have done a triathlon. So what my time is, and did I PR, and was I the best on the bike, and was I the best runner, and was I the best swimmer? No, I was horrible at all them things, but I've done 3 Olympic triathlons. The thing that I remember is not my time. It's not the medal. It's the experience that I had with the athletes. So what I would say is if something like this scares you, then you got to do it, because we won't let you do it on your own. We'll be there with you. And the experience that you get is way more valuable than if you are a failure or a success to the outside world as a triathlete. That goes into something that during the pandemic, there was nothing going on, right? And I struggle without a goal, right? I've been goal oriented ever since I can remember. I've needed a goal. And there was nothing happening. So me, Lucas, and Katie from the gym, we decided, well, if there's nothing going on, the one thing that will happen is you on a stage at a bodybuilding show. So we signed up for a bodybuilding competition. And not only did we not know what we were doing, we just trained the way we normally do, tried to lose a little bit of weight, tried to get good abs, tried to get, looking ripped, ate a bodybuilder's diet, which was horrible for, got a good 12 weeks, 3 months. And we went to this competition with zero experience. And it's one of the best memories that I have is we went to the competition, signed up. The next day we get to the event, and the people that tan you or let you get on stage wouldn't let us get on stage because we tried to do our tanning ourselves. And they said, we're not letting you get on stage like that. Come with us. Rushed us into the backstage, sprayed us down, gave it to us for free, which you have to pay to be tanned by them usually. I just remember looking at Lucas. We're both covering up private parts, just laughing as we're getting sprayed right before we go on stage. And then as we get to go on stage, Lucas talks to the lady that's about to send us on. And he said, okay, I'm going to do this pose. And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to turn around. This is my favorite one. And she said, no, that's not it at all. And luckily showed us what we had to do. And we did it. And I finished. Lucas was the only person in his division. So he finished in first place. I was with 4 other people. I finished in 4th place. So we both finished technically last. But what happened over that time was I got in the best, bodybuilding shape of my life. I looked, and I'll show you the picture. I looked like this. I don't want to look like that again. I was way too skinny. But in being a complete failure as a bodybuilder, I have every time we talk about the competition, we just have the best stories. The one point we were backstage, and somebody came up to Lucas and was like, "It's only athletes backstage," and tried to kick us out because we just didn't fit in. Like, it just wasn't our thing. But I'll never forget failing to become a bodybuilder. I'll never forget finishing in last, and I'll never do it again. But just the memories you get from not being afraid to do something and walking on that stage is one of the scariest things I've ever done. I would say it's up there with playing in the Drew League and trying to guard some of the best players that I've ever played against. But the memories of that, I think I will always remember even more than trying to become a professional basketball player. What else do I have? Oh, yes. All right. So this one is, we've got it coming up just like the triathlon. We have beach brawl coming up in the fall, and we have a ton of people signed up to do it, right? And it's exciting. It's really exciting to see people that have never done this before. And so we did a competition. This is 2023. And some of the guys that I was doing it with, they were a little nervous about the competition. I sent them a message and I said, "Are we going to do RX? Or I've looked at some of the other weights and we could probably do elite." And they didn't respond. Well, they didn't respond fast enough that I wanted to. So I just signed us up for elite. And in typical fashion, there was only 8 teams in elite. And there was, I think, 50 teams in the men's RX division. And we got to the competition, and the people that were doing the elite division, not the friendliest people that you want to meet. And it was a little bit scary that we were going up against some absolute monsters. I think most of them have come off like going to like the CrossFit games, and they were competing in these big competitions. And yeah, they were a lot bigger than us, a lot scarier than us. But the thing that I remember is looking at the RX and the intermediate division and just thinking, like, most of these people could have done elite, but they were too scared to do it. So the fact that we're doing it is the thing that matters here. And if I would have done the RX division, and if the people on my team would have done the RX division, we wouldn't have trained the same way that we trained to do the elite division, because the weights were scarier. I didn't know the barbell that I have in my hand right now. When we stepped up, this was the last event, I didn't know if I was going to be able to clean it. And for the past 10 weeks, 8 weeks, I trained so hard to try and be able to pick up that bar, to try and be able to do ring muscle ups. We had to do handstand walks. We had to do all these things that were in the elite division that we could have not done. We could have avoided all the hard things if we'd have just done the RX division. But where would the growth have been in doing that, right? There wouldn't have been the same growth. And so out of 8 teams in this division, the elite division, we finished, you guessed it, 8th place. And I got better as an athlete by finishing in 8th place. So I know that there's somebody signed up now to do beach brawl. There's somebody that didn't sign up to do beach brawl because they're like, I don't know if I can do that weight, or I'm a little scared of that scale, or whatever it is. When you do it with your friends, when you do it with a team of people that only want the best for you, which is what we do here, and actually don't even care how they do, they're going because they want you to do it. They're going because they want to do it as a team. Then there is no such thing as failure. Like that 8th place, we have a group chat right now for beach brawl. It's pretty much the same team. We're called the 8th place elite team in that group chat. And we'll never forget, we won. I think we finished 3rd on the run, right? So like we beat 6 elite teams on the run, which we never would have had the opportunity to do. And it was a good feeling. And then we tried our best on every other workout and we grew in that failure. What do I have left? I have one more, right? Because this is one that's really popular right now. So let's talk about High Rocks. High Rocks is coming back to Atlanta in the fall. That got leaked a couple of months ago. We knew they were coming back. And I think this is going to be the time that they come back every year. And every time I talk to people about High Rocks, they get a little bit scared for some reason. Like, we do High Rocks training every day. You could go to a High Rocks right now. There's nothing that you cannot do. The open division especially, every single person in this gym could go and do the open division. You might not finish it fast, but I truly believe if you train with me for 8 to 10 weeks and you come to every class and you come and do the extra sessions on the weekend, you do nutrition with me or you do nutrition with Savannah, Caitlin, or Lauren, you'll crush a High Rocks. So I don't understand what people are scared of, right? I did, never done it before. I think we had 3 months to get ready for it, maybe. I don't know if we even knew we could get tickets. But, oh, yeah, we didn't even know we had tickets. We only got tickets like a month or two out because they only just released the second day. And no doubt I was doing the pro, right? Because I don't care about my time. It's the first time I'm going to do it, right? So when we look at High Rocks now, my time was 1 hour and 26 seconds. That is 30 minutes slower than the best in the world. So just like I was a failure as a triathlete, over 3 hours for an Olympic. I was a failure as a marathon runner. I've done it in 5.5 to 6 hours, somewhere in that range. Failure as a bodybuilder, finished in last place. Failure as a, what was the last one we talked about? CrossFit athlete. We finished last in the elite division. And 30 minutes slower than the best in the world on this workout. So what do I remember from High Rocks? I didn't know what my time was. I have no idea. Like, unless I looked at this picture, I didn't know I was 1:26:05. Why did I not know that? Because I don't care. Because what happened that day, we took 20 people. We were the biggest team out there by far. Most people doing their first one. In fact, everybody doing their first one. And I remember sitting in the hallway. I remember cheering people on. I remember every time I ran past our group of people that were cheering for me. And they weren't looking at their watch telling me their splits. They were just cheering for me. We're just having a good time. So, like, we got there early in the morning because we have a massive team of people. So Caitlin and Savannah start off the day. So to watch them go meant I got to see the men's open division go. And I think that was the biggest division of the day. There must have been 2,000 athletes going that morning. It was a big window of open athletes, right? I would say 60% of the people, and I'm not even exaggerating, that were doing the open division could have easily finished the pro, but they didn't do it because of some kind of external factor. They were scared of failing. They were scared that people would judge their time. They were scared that the sleds would take them too long. They were scared that the wall balls would take them too long. They still would have finished, but they wouldn't have been able to post the picture, right? Because people would have been like, it took you 2 hours? It took you 1 hour and 45 minutes? And that is all coming from the fear of failure. That's all coming from worrying about other people's judgment, right? And we've built a whole culture based on failing, right? And that comes back to everything. If you come to our gym, you see every quarter we got these scorecards, right? For 10 years, I have been trying to test people. For 10 years, I've been trying to push people to do something outside their comfort zone because that's just what I love. I love seeing people have an experience that they never thought they would have done with a group of people that just want them to get to the finish line. And you see that from all the events we've done this year, right? Most people, it's their first time doing a Savage race, the rowing competition, High Rocks. I think there's only like 3 or 4 people out of the 20 to 30 people that are doing the beach brawl that have done it before. And to me, that's really exciting because I know the result doesn't matter. You're going to grow just by doing it with a crew. And that's what we come back to when we look at this. Like, This is somebody here, Jakeevan, that's not scared to fail. How do I know he's not scared to fail? Because every box is filled in. He did everything. And I guarantee he's going to show up on the retest week and he's going to test everything again. And he's not going to worry about the numbers. He's going to use it as feedback. And that is what our program's built around. We track your progress. We don't track your perfection, right? We give you real data to see you getting stronger. Every time you see a movement in there, we retest it so that you can see where you're going, right? If you go back, it's not a setback. It's not a mistake. It's just, okay, what's going on? What can we fix? How's your nutrition? How many times a week you've been showing up, Some of these workouts, I think it's like today, for example, we push you to the edge of failure today, right? Because we want you to see what it feels like to fail. We want you to try and finish in these little time zones. We want you to try and go up in weight. And we've been playing with that a lot in this second week of the program. And you'll see that some of the workouts, they're designed where it's like really hard for you to finish. Or if you don't choose the right weight, you might finish too fast, which is intentional to force you to go up, to force you to fail, right? If you're failing at a movement, it means you're getting stronger. It means that it's working. Then on top of that, we don't do it in isolation, right? You're surrounded by other people who, want to fail too. They want to see you push yourself. I see people celebrate when somebody else gets a heavier set of dumbbells more than if they're going up, right? That's the culture. And then what do we track the most in here? We track how many days you show up, right? Our All-Americans and our Ox list is about how many times a month you show up, because how much weight you lift, how well you do on a workout, what workouts come up, how you do at High Rocks, if you get a puncture at the triathlon, all things that are outside your control. But showing up every day when it's hard, like today, me doing this podcast when it's hard, this is the last thing I wanted to do at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. But showing up and trying to make this a weekly thing is way more important than whether these are good or not, right? Over the next 5 years, I can look back on these and see how much better I got. And then we use failure as feedback, not punishment. If Jakeevan's scorecard if every one of these doesn't go up at the end of this 8 weeks, does that mean he's a failure? No. It means that he's got an amazing amount of feedback to see, I know recently he just switched to the 6 a.m. How's that going? Was he able to be consistent at the 6 a.m.? If he wasn't, can he move it to another class? Does he need to get a coach? And does he need to come to the 5 a.m.? Was the 6 a.m. a little bit too late? Is there a way that he can fix his schedule so he can get out at noon? What can we do to make it better? He's going to have a whole bunch of feedback to know. Was he not eating enough protein? Was he overtraining? Was he overtraining and under recovering, right? All things that we know and all feedback that we can get. Was he not working on certain things? Did he miss bench press day? Did he miss double under day, right? I tell people all the time, if you grab a jump rope for 5 minutes every day when you get here, you'll have 100 double unders in the next 8 weeks. Guaranteed. If you sign up for Savannah's gymnastics seminar, you will have a pull-up in the next 8 weeks. You'll have a muscle-up in the next 8 weeks. You'll be able to handstand walk in the next 8 weeks because she will give you the tools to be able to practice it, right? So you got to use failure as feedback. You got to use failure as feedback. There's no destination we're going to get to in 8 weeks. It's all the journey on getting you better as an athlete and improving. And if you hire a coach, whatever goal that is, you'll get there 10 times faster, because I see it over and over again with the people on our coaching program. I work with most of the men and business owners. Caitlin works with all the people in the 5 a.m. club. Savannah works with all the athletes that are going to beach brawl. Lauren works with most of the moms, but you can choose one of them coaches, right? So something to think about is how fast you want to get there. But the main thing that I want you to think about is what scares you. What scares you out of these events? And how can you choose one that scares you and then let us know, right? I'm doing high rocks. Um, I'm doing DECA. Caitlin and Savannah are doing beach brawl. Lauren's doing the triathlon. We want to fail with you. And we want you to embrace failure. We want you to jump outside your comfort zone and do something that scares you because we know that the only failure is not signing up for these things, is watching the video and getting FOMO and being like, man, I could have done that. And the one thing I want to tell you that is when it comes to us, you can do it. We'll find a way to get you across that finish line. We'll find the right start line for you. Never mind the finish line. We'll find the right scale. We'll find what event you should be doing, and we'll train you to get there, and we'll make sure you have the best time with the best group of people, just like when you come to one of our classes. So fail at something this year. It's all I care about. I want you to be successful. I want you to fill up this scorecard, but I more care about where you don't PR and what events you're going to do and where you're going to fail. So have a good Wednesday. I hope that's something for you to think about. We've got, 5 months left. So don't waste that time. Let's fail. Let's fail together.